Hey guys, welcome back to Buddy RC. My name's Clay, and today we're going to be talking about the M2 Evo MK2. This little guy has been taking the market by storm, but it has a couple little things that a lot of people don't, know how to do, like change the main shaft, feathering shaft, stuff like that. So the feathering shaft, we've kind of done a video on the M1 before. You can reference that video for the M2. It's the exact same way. So a couple tools you're going to need. I have them laid out here on the table. A pair of snips, that's just to open up the package. This is the package that you actually get with the M2 Evo, so you don't have to worry about buying any parts. If you bend a main shaft or a feathering shaft, they're all in here, which is awesome. It even has the servo arms and your servo horns as well. These plastic pieces here, you don't really break. Honestly, you just lose them, but they're always nice to keep on hand. But as far as spare parts, this is awesome for a brand new helicopter to come with. These are an option. This is the little ball link pliers for the M2. They're just super nice to actually, get the balls off of like the grips and stuff. Especially when pulling the head off, just makes things a little easier. Same thing for pulling it off of the swash plate. Putting it back on, you just have to put it on by hand, which is whatever. But yeah, these are a nice little thing to have. A T9 Torx bit. So the T9 Torx bit is what you're going to need to actually get this bottom screw off of the motor bell housing there. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit. A 1.5 millimeter wrench, of course. This is the 1.5 out of the set that we sell. This little thing is awesome. I've yet to break it. I am notorious for breaking 1.5 millimeters. Over tightening stuff, unfortunately, like on RC cars and stuff. And then a weird one. I recommend having a soldering iron. This one is not on, obviously, but we sell a battery powered one that you can plug right into a 12 volt power supply or into a 3S, either one. So basically what the soldering iron is for is when you get your M2 Mark II, there is thread locker on the actual screw that's on the bottom here. So what we recommend doing is the easiest way to like heat it up. Make sure the tip is nice and clean, but you just put this right onto the head of the screw and let it sit for a little bit, let it warm it up, and then I flip it around and I do it right on the back side. This is probably hard to film here, but basically just right down in there on the actual thread of the screw, like hanging out just a little bit. But again, I do that just to kind of warm it up. It makes it easier to get it out. This one has been converted from the original one to the new MK2, so it's got the new motor and all that stuff on there. So the biggest thing that really needs to be done on this one is I just need to remove it with the T9. I don't need to worry about using heat or anything like that because I've already cracked the seal on this one. So these right here, you can get them at Walmart. I'm going to make a link down below to Walmart. This is a Hyper Tough, I think is what they call it. It's a screwdriver set for like working on phones. Find it in the tool section, it's like 10 bucks. That's what I recommend everybody to get. It's cheap and you can get it, or get yourself a really nice one if you're gonna be doing it a lot. But yeah, basically that is the screw that goes on the bottom. It is a T9, not a T8. A T8 will fit in there, but a T8 will also strip it out. So once you get that bottom one out, tool will come out too. So once you get that bottom one out, another little quick tip, work on a microfiber, because when you throw stuff on it, it doesn't go very far. Unlike when it's here, it can bounce off the table. It just kind of stops real quick. These are the Falcon towels that we sell. This thing is crazy nice. You don't have to have something like this. Just a microfiber from like Walmart or something would work. So the next thing that I do normally is I pop off all the ball links. So now that these are all free, you can pull the head off, like the actual head block off, without having to move your servos up and down or anything. So now we're gonna take our 1.5 millimeter, and I just put my finger on the back side right here and put my 1.5 here. You just wanna hold it inside that little rut there, because that rut is the exact same size as the nut. So it'll hold it from spinning, which is really nice. All right, pull this out. And then that nut will fall out, so I just try to go ahead and make it fall out. Like I said, it's the same size as the nut, so it'll kind of hold in there anyway. So we'll just leave it in there for now, but your whole head assembly comes off like that. And now we are left with just the swatch plate on there and then the collar that holds it from going up and down. So let's crack this little guy. It's a 1.5 as well, and that's loose. The easiest way to do this is after you've loosened that collar, I just stick my 1.5 through this, and I use this as like a handle and just pull this straight up. So kind of hold the bell, because the bell is going to want to stay on the shaft because it's kind of pressed in there, and then do this back and forth and it'll pop right out. And see, I didn't lose my collar. It went right onto the thing there. So quick way to test if your shaft is bent, basically just run it. This one is definitely bent. I know for a fact it's bent. I've ran it up and it is crazy loud, so you can kind of hear it a little bit. So this one's been used and abused. So we're gonna open up the one out of our package. So I'm just gonna make a small slit in it, pull our brand new one out, and we'll slip it in there. So the easiest way to tell which side is which, the top one is gonna have the hole away from the top. The bottom one is gonna be as close to the bottom as possible. So if you look, I'm talking about the bigger gap right here, that's gonna be for the head block, and then this is gonna be for your motor. All right, so real quick, I went ahead and pulled off the swatch plate just to make things a little simpler. You can actually just pop them right off. The only difficult one is the back one, so I just took a pair of needle nose pliers and then slipped the main shaft into there. Sometimes they're a little tough to get in there when they're brand new. But basically you can take your 1.5 again, slide it through there and kind of work it down to where it will line up. So now that we've done that, we're gonna go ahead and take the screw that goes in the bottom of the bell housing, thread that through. Before you do though, put a little bit of thread locker on it. For the sake of the video, I don't have any in front of me right here, unfortunately. So blue thread locker only. Blue and orange are what I would use. I normally use orange personally. I just don't have any here at work. So you line it up and then screw it on, and then we'll move on from there. Right in, start screwing it in. Like I said, make sure you put some Loctite on it. Orange Loctite is pretty cool. It's made by Permatex. It's kind of like a midway between blue and red, except for you don't need heat to take it off. So it's great for helicopters because it's for high vibration type applications. So that is the only thing you really need Loctite on besides your actual feathering shaft bolts. You don't want to put Loctite on the bolt that goes through the head block itself, because that goes into a nylock nut, and plastic and Loctite does not mix. So the next thing we're going to put on is going to be this little guy. Make sure the concave side is down. There's a flat side and a concave side. Make sure those are lined up. On the concave down, so that comes down and touches the race of the bearing and not the whole entire bearing. So spin it around until you see the flat spot. So I see the flat spot there. And I normally kind of pull up on the shaft and push down on this a little bit, so it kind of is putting a little bit of pressure on it. So it kind of keeps it from moving up and down at all. Because if you have any up and down movement, it's actually going to move the motor up and down, and you don't want that. You want the motor to be kind of clamped in there. So by the bottom bolt and this, it kind of clamps it onto the bell housing. Next, we're going to grab our actual plate, swatch plate here, slide it through the top. All right. Make sure it moves freely. Work back and forth a little bit. It'll move freely eventually. All right, so now you can take your back one. I always do the back one first. All right, so we got the back one on. Like I said, that's the hardest one, so I always like to do that one first. Then I'm gonna gently pull down, and then we're gonna connect to the other servos here. I just put these on by hand. It's a lot easier that way. Again, make sure everything's moving easily. There should be absolutely no binding in there. All right, so now we can go on and put our head on, grab our head. I just take all these guys and flip them out. The easiest way to tell which way it came off is the little slots on the top. Make sure those are all facing up on the blade grips. Take those, take your mixer arms, and they should say OMPHOBBY on the outside. It's a little hard to see, but they'll say OMPHOBBY on the outside, so that's the way you know you have them aiming the correct direction. Then slide it on. Take this, remember, don't put any Loctite on this because there is a nylon nut on the back side. Slide it through, tighten it, and that is good to go. Now you want to put the mixer arms on the short arms and the arms going up to the blade grips on the long ones. This is how you get the more throw on these new swash plates. And just like that, guys, we have our new main shaft installed and the old one is gone. So that made a really cool noise. Basically, the main kind of thing out of all of this, we want to make sure you guys are covered when it comes to replacing parts. It's not the hardest helicopter in the world to work on. It is a great introduction into the world of RC helicopters because there's no tail belt pulley assembly or anything you have to worry about. It's super simple on the head as well. And then same thing for the main motor. So if you guys have any questions about this repair, post them down below. It's very, very simple. Like I said, you only need a few tools. You don't really need to have these. You can get away with needle nose pliers. I don't recommend giant ones like this. This is just all I had. But to do the repairs on this helicopter, you can get away with two 1.5 millimeters wrenches, and then a T9, and then some Loctite, and you can do just about anything on the helicopter. And then for the servos, it's a Phillips head, but this kit actually comes with a Phillips head that fits that perfect. So guys, I will post down below all the tools you need for this. Again, kind of showing exactly what I used. And again, this is stuff that comes with your helicopter. So this is really cool thing about the OMP helicopters is they come with the spare parts that you are going to bend. It's a high performance helicopter. When you have a high head speed and the ground meeting together, normally something's got to give. Feathering and main shaft are the #1 thing to give. So I'd rather replace one of those than actually having to replace a main grip, something that's way more expensive. So that's the nice part about it. So it's like a sacrificial part. So guys, we will talk to you later in the next video, and hopefully this helped you guys out. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment, and we'll see you later.